Barely.
She's coming late from the review.
Call me right now. Get over here. Thank you, sir. The ringtone was very nice. Wow. The guy from the Pioneer on the time, whatever the time of the Pioneer. I threw it down, the battery flew out. Yeah.
I cannot stop at high speed. Harrison, right?
The mayor,
That's only
Mayor
a
Morris.
put a stop sign.
We'll call to order the Public Safety and Human Relations Commission regular meeting, November 13th, 2023 at 6:02 p.m. Pledge of Allegiance, we'll all stand and insert that. Are you ready?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bow your heads, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you for today, and Father, I pray you give us wisdom to make the decisions that would honor you in our city. Father, I have a couple of unspoken prayers. Father, I lift up the Cervantes family and the Covington family. Father, just unspoken, but just keep them in your prayers. We thank you for what you do for us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Roll call.
Commissioner Guzman,
Present.
Commissioner Kelly, Commissioner Walters,
Here.
Commissioner Carrillo,
Here.
Commissioner Roberson,
Here.
excuse me, Vice Chair Roberson,
Here.
Commissioner Simpson,
Here.
Chair Cervantes,
Here.
Commissioner Sims advised of his absence, Commissioner Kunaz.
She'll be here in 5 minutes.
We have a quorum.
Okay. Do we have any public comments?
I did receive a email, but I don't see the speaker here. Anthony Noriega.
Okay, well, we'll have to move forward. We'll normally start public comments at 6 p.m. Okay, let's move to approve our draft minutes. Everybody got them ahead of time. We reviewed them. If we have no questions or corrections or concerns, we can get a motion to approve our minutes.
Motion.
Okay, Second. All who are approved? Any opposed? Okay. All approved. Okay, we'll move on to 2, approval of employee recognition. Police, Fire, and Public Works subcommittees. Do we have a motion to approve the employee recognition for the reserve officers? And looks like we have one here. Do you have a motion?
Motion by Roberson.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all who are for? Any opposed? Okay, we move to do the presentations. So the certificate for the second quarter, so we'll start with this.
Well, it's my distinct pleasure and honor to present this certificate to one of our longstanding members of our reserve department. But let me tell you a little bit about her. Arlene Knott-Priest has been a volunteer reserve with the San Bernardino Police Department for 45 years, over 45 years.
45 years. Thank you.
And in her capacity as a reserve officer, she's played a lot of roles. She's been on patrol. She selflessly volunteers her time working special events. And the thing that must be included in that is how many hours that equates to in cost savings to the city. And I wish I had the numbers. I shouldn't have to do the math, but when I was a volunteer coordinator in one of my previous jobs, we would annually calculate that so that we can not only show appreciation to the volunteers, but give them a real meaningful value of what their time equated to. And I can tell you that annually, throughout the entire year, it would be over 500,000 hours, and that 500,000 hours equated to millions of dollars. So in 45 years, I can estimate that she's probably contributed hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of cost savings to the city. And for that, I thank you. I thank you for your time. I thank you for the sacrifice that you've made being away from your family. And I thank you for your selfless dedication to the San Bernardino Police Department. So,
Picture?
Picture, yes.
Speech.
Give us some hash mark. Hash mark.
Your phone number after I'll forward to you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Scouting.
Wow.
13.
so I'm her 13th police chief.
Wow.
May it be in the record, yes.
Wow.
And there's another that just showed up. So Terry Elliott. Terry Elliott is one of our volunteer chaplains. In addition to being a chaplain, he's also a citizen volunteer, which means that he serves in a capacity where he goes out and he helps us with traffic enforcement, he helps us with parking violations, and I can tell you that there's days, weeks, and months where by himself he writes more citations than our entire team of paid traffic enforcement officers. So, without a doubt. He's been a civilian volunteer since September 2019. He's done a lot for our agency. He's also spearheaded many fundraisers where he's going out to different restaurants and businesses, getting them to support our officers. He did so during a critical time of COVID, where a lot of our officers couldn't go and eat at certain places because they were either A, closed, or after we had some civil unrest, it was unsafe for our officers to eat in places because they were getting their foods contaminated, poisoned, and a whole lot of other things. So a lot of businesses, knowing what was happening to the officers, they decided to start bringing food to the department. And Chaplain Elliott spearheaded all of that. And so through his support, and through his unwavering commitment to making sure that officers are taken care of, we appreciate that. We want to honor him for that support. And I can tell you, without a doubt, he's been responsible for our Special Olympics, our torch run, supporting CERT, and a whole host of things that, when I first got here, I thought he was an employee because he was there so much, and then they had to tell me that he was a volunteer. So I appreciate him personally, and I know the department appreciates it, so thank you very much. Come on.
Not to mention that he was a commissioner right on this side of the...
That's
Yes.
right.
Selfless dude, yes.
Okay, so now we move to, that's our presentations. We didn't have any other departments, just the police.
That was it. That's present.
Okay, we're moving to number 4. I know that I put this on for our new commissioner about the legal discussion for the illegal dumping. So did you want to let us know what you...
Thank you so much for that. And so when this was initially put on there, it was in regards to the days that Burtech has set aside for us to kind of, neighborhood-wide come and, dispose of our trash, right? But then we were also seeing just kind of, I guess, high rates of just outside of those days, people just leaving it on their curb or just leaving it in just the middle of just abandoned or empty slots. And so just bringing that to this table, because, I guess part of our thing is just around the beautification of our neighborhoods and our communities, right? And so just what does that look like, and then also what's in our power to kind of address that. And so I didn't necessarily have any additional solutions as opposed to just additional trash cans, because I feel like when I go to other cities like Redlands, Fontana, what have you, right, there are just trash cans in our, just in our wave of walking downtown, walking on the sidewalk, where it at least allows someone the option to throw something away. But when I'm here in our city, when I'm here in our community, there aren't places for us to at least get the option to at least, throw away trash can or have trash cans to throw away our disposal. And so I'm bringing that to us to see what's in our power to do, because again, the least that we could do is get some sort of metrics around every such and such a blocks, every such and such a mile, right, there's a trash can, especially in places that we see that there are high populations, a high, just amount of people coming back and forth. So again, our downtown area should have more trash cans. Again, places where we know there's going to be frequent populations also having that as well. And so that's just me putting it on the table, but I do look forward to us kind of proposing some solutions to see what we can come about, because again, I think that the first step is at least providing options for people to do something about it.
Okay, so we'll start with Commissioner Walters. Do you have any comment or idea on what we could do to help that?
Well, I agree. I think it should be, we used to have big ones that keep San Bernardino clean, but I don't know what happened to them.
Right.
They seem to disappear. But it was brought up a while back, a few years ago, and we put trash bags out and everything, but I don't know, nothing came up. So.
Okay.
But yeah, I think there should be more.
Okay. And then Commissioner Guzman, do you have any?
I have a lot personal experience also. Not on the dumping side, on the going after the dumpers. First of all of this has an impact on what kind of city we have, our vision of ourselves. And again, it's a culture that I keep finding in the schools. I just had, as an example, parents of kinder children transferring to our schools. They voiced to me that they wish they could get out of this place as soon as possible. Well, why? Oh, because it's San Bernardino. The problem, and I confronted the parents nicely. I confronted the people. It's not San Bernardino. It's the mentality. It's the way they see things. Yes, there's trash. There's blight. There's other issues. There's crime and so forth and so on. But this is the best city because I'm in it. When do they, the common phrase that we all hear, when they should do something about the illegal dumping, they should, and what they mean is a shapeless they. They're pointing the finger at the government, which is the city government. Why doesn't this is an actual phrase, why doesn't the police come and clean up Bobbitt Drive? Because it's not their job. Why don't they? I think it is my mission to raise consciousness that if I want something done, it's up to me to research when BERTEC dump days take place. Once a month. This coming weekend, for example, it's going to happen again, and this time at Annie Sherrill's Park. And I'm organizing my neighborhood to clean up the usual cul-de-sac. Actually, it's a long stretch of road where people at night will dump. So forgive me for the long-windedness. I will just clear this up. People have got to, we got to spread the word more and more that there are BERTEC days, community dump days, and that benefits the community. Number two, the idea that there is an app for which we can take responsibility and take pictures of where the dump is. That's okay. That's
Okay,
good.
thank you.
So those two things. Again, let me repeat. Community dump days do happen. It's coming this at the end of every month. It just so happens that next week is one. And let me repeat. The app, Go SB City, the app has been wonderful. I'll just close this with an anecdote. My neighborhood, I found vials of human blood dumped right in the stretch that I basically fight for. There was about 21 to 25 vials of human blood with still their labels on it. I did not get close enough to smell it and see, confirm that it was blood, but it was pretty cool. Yeah, you could tell. The app took a picture of it, dealt with Officer Christian. Yes, and I've been trying to reach him ever since. I guess he moved on. Boom, it was taken care of within the next 2 days. Not just the vials, but the entire street. San Bernardino, we need to look at it we need to look at ourselves, San Bernardinians, in a different way. Sorry for the long-windedness. I'm passionate about this. This is my cup of tea. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Roberson, do you have anything else?
I think for me, and Azam, you can help me better. I think when we talk about public works, I think doing maybe a trash can audit, to see how many trash cans throughout the city that we have, especially downtown, within the wards as well. Also, to look at our contract with Burtech, because I know we have a lot of 4-yard bins in different commercial areas that a lot of illegal dumping is being done. When we talk about old couches, TVs, things like that. Also, too, when we talk about our contract with Burtech, our e-waste, right? What does that program look like when we talk about sustainability, those things like that for the city, right? Commissioner Guzman, you hit on something key. I think it's the culture, right? Us as citizens of San Bernardino, right? If we're letting that happen in our wards, that shouldn't be allowed, right? So I think going to the neighborhood association meetings, having those conversations in your communities about, it's our responsibility to take care of those things, right? Yes, we have the app, we have all these technology things that happens, but it's that neighbor next door that might be doing it that we need to hold accountable, right?
Yes.
So I think those things are what we need to look at when we talk about illegal dumping. I think, yes, we have a beautiful city, you're right. For me, when I go to different cities and see how clean it looks, right? And you come here and you see those things, it's about pride, and I think, and that's where it starts. Yes, we can have these conversations here, but it has to go outside of these doors. Like I said, in those neighborhood association meetings with our neighbor next door, in the churches, all those different things, because it's going to take a community effort. Yes, we have all these designated dump days at all these different locations, and maybe we can better communicate those things in our wards. So like, hey, don't throw that old couch away, just wait, we have a day coming up.
Yes.
And you can throw that old TV with the back on it, right? If you want to get rid of those things. So those things, I think we just have to communicate, but that's a great thing you brought up, so definitely thank you for bringing that discussion.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Sure. And for me, I think that it's important that we do reach out to our neighbor associations. I do a cleanup day every other month, second Saturday of each month in my community where I live, and we get our neighbors involved and we clean up our whole area that's there in our association. It's important that as a city we work together as a team with our police department, with our public works, with our fire, because it is an issue. We also need to get the information out. Like you said, we as residents here, we get 2 pickups throughout the year with 5 items each for free. But we got to get out there and let people know that they will pick up 5 items for free twice a year for you from their home. Big, large items, sofas, whatever you want, you put them out there, they'll pick them up. That's important to get out. I think our free dump days, we need to open them up. When you go to those dump days, you have to show your ID to show that you live in that area, right?
Just
But
in
what
the
I'm
city.
finding,
San
right?
Bernardino, yes.
But what I'm finding is there's people that are having people come clean their properties up. They don't live here, right? So he lives in Rialto, he's coming to clean up San Bernardino house. He gets that stuff and he's not making much money and he wants to dump it in my neighborhood, let's say. And because he doesn't want to pay for the trash pickup. I think if maybe we open up and look at how can we open up these dump days to people that are working in our city too. If they can dump that trash at those dump days so that helps everybody as a whole, government, all of us cleaning our city up, right? I think that's something we look at, trash cans. You go into some cities where, that, you know, you mentioned Rancho Cucamonga or Yucaipa, they all have trash cans throughout the city. We can look at what we can do to place, but then we all have to look at too, our funds for it, who's gonna empty them when they get overfilled. You know, we gotta look at the whole picture because our city has to, you know, financial, you know, what we can do and what we can't do. So there's a lot of things we can do. So it's important. That will help with the blight in the city for sure, right? Another thing is the business owners. Get them to put fencing around their businesses if they're vacant lots or if they're shut down or when they're closed so that people don't go onto those properties and dump trash, because I see that too. Businesses are closed or vacant and there's no fencing, so we get trash dumped in there. We can't expect our police to clean. I personally don't want our police to clean. I don't even want them dealing with the taco guy. I want them to get all the criminals.
Amen.
What our chief has been doing this year and a half almost, get our criminals out of the city before they come and clean our lots.
Yes.
Because doing a great job, we need them to focus on that. I don't want our officers doing cleanup days. So I don't agree with the officers coming out and doing that again. That's not a plus. But these are great ideas, and I think if we work with Public Works, and we can figure out what we can do with that, with our ideas, right? Okay. Commissioner, do you have any ideas?
Well, I think communication is key, kind of to your guys' point, and it does start kind of at home. So I do, it was a couple years ago, changed the guard quite a few times when it comes to CMs, but Andrea Miller, actually, I was working with her office to do a campaign, and it was going to be collaborative with San Bernardino City School District. There's free resources there with Parent Square, communicating with the parents of the school district. So I think that's an innovative idea, kind of outside of the box thinking, to do like a campaign, and again, collaborative with the San Bernardino City Unified School District, and utilize our resources. We do have social media reach people where they are. Lots of people don't know. You mentioned the 2 free cleanups. When I worked for the county, you wouldn't believe how many people don't know that.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you. Commissioner.
I agree with all of you. Communication is just absolutely critical. And the more we're involved in the neighborhood associations, whatever meetings we can go to, coffee with a cop. And the reason that our district moves from place to place is because we're trying to get new people to come. We don't want the same people. We want to get new people, because the more the town knows what we can do, the less complaining we get. Because a lot of the complaining, once you get them to the right place, it gets handled. But they complain until they find somebody that says, let me help you. And to me, the communication is absolutely critical. You know, what we can do, what we can't do at 602, whether it's private property, whether, you know, and a lot of the legal dumping is really not our residents are dumping the couches. It's people will say, I'll clean up your stuff, and they go to your house, clean up your stuff, then they dump it. But I think it's communication. The more people we advise in this city how we can address these issues, that's the whole thing. Because if people don't know, you know, and they don't know the consequences of, you know, you see somebody dump it, just get a picture of their license, a picture of them, and, you know, and move forward. But I mean, it just, like I say, it's so critical that we understand that we've got to communicate. The more people we tell in the city of San Bernardino what we can do and what we can't do, the sooner we're going to get cleaned up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. I think it's safe to say that if we let Public Works give us an idea on what can be done to help us,
Sure.
and then we can look into maybe when we have pop-ups in the city, like when we had the Oktoberfest, we wanted to hand out things, did you know that there's this cleanup? Did you know? And let's start doing that more. I've had that idea. I just have to figure out where we're going to pop up. You know, like the police pop up everywhere. We need to start doing that. Hey, and have flyers that give these information. Let's get the information out there, because social media is great, but some people just don't want to be on social media, right? So I think with your concern, do you feel like we can move and start with Public Works and then move forward and then we'll get a game plan going?
I think so.
Yeah, we'll get back to you with a plan. The position is vacant currently in Public Works, Integrated Waste. We hired a new staff to join us within the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
Once he gets on board, we'll address all these issues. But I just want to bring to your attention, there's a county facility on Victoria South of 3rd that you can bring in certain types of material to dump at that site. You're aware of it, Commissioner?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Is that the base?
Close to the base, if you travel southbound on Victoria, you pass 3rd, 2 blocks or 1 block, it should be on the left-hand side.
That's the paint place, right? You can take all the paint and stuff.
Yes.
Paint, electronics,
Yes.
Okay.
things like that.
So we can put that out there too.
Yeah, you can put that out there. As far as the number of trash cans you have throughout the city, I'll have to check with Operation and Maintenance, Ernesto. He's the deputy director, to see if we have an inventory of the current trash bins we have in downtown, and if there is any outside the downtown area. I'm not sure how we're going to implement this, but again, like Commissioner, you mentioned cost and resources.
Right.
And you know, what is Vertec is a part of the contract to provide these type of services. I know the trash bins we have downtown, the trash cans we have downtown, I know those are emptied by city staff. Because when I come in on Monday in the morning, I see them emptying the trash cans in the morning. I don't think it's a Vertec service, and if it is, probably it's not in their contract.
And
So-
you're right, because when I do cleanup days, I can call the city and city will come out with a flat truck. I don't know if they still do it, and they pick up our trash when Bird Check's not available to do that. So I'm
Okay.
not sure if that's still available, but we did use that for cleanup days.
Was it a dine-in, does you have a number, or you put it?
No, I would just call it into Public Works and they put us on a calendar for cleanup days and a flatbed truck would come out.
Okay.
City worker would come out and pick the trash up and put it on their bed.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they still do that
Right.
with all the change of hands,
Yeah.
but we can look into
Yeah,
that.
we can look into that.
Right.
As far as illegal dumping, isn't there, you can go through the city CRM system and then put a request for the illegal dumping to be taken care of? Is that out to the community, or is it still?
No, I seen it on there. When you go
Oh.
to sbc.org,
Right.
you can see it's illegal dumping and you just press in there and you put
Okay.
where they ask for a picture. So we can do that too and
Yes.
report it that way.
But
Okay.
Okay,
I got delayed because I didn't know we had a back entrance. I've been waiting up in the front. in the front
illegal
building
dumping,
all the time.
illegal dumping
here's
on
the-
private property
Publicly?
is not the responsibility of the city, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. So we need to, we need to
Exactly.
state that.
Exactly.
Illegal dumping on private property,
Copy for everybody.
we don't pick up.
Right.
Okay, I just went to a meeting and somebody said, hey, I got a bunch of trash in my backyard. I said, is it your property? They said, yeah. But, and the other thing is, on the bus stops, those trash cans are not city, right? Those are Caltrans?
No, those are Omnitrans.
Omnitrans,
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, that's
And they
good to know.
should be, if you see one that's full, you gotta contact
Omnitrans.
Omnitrans.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
That makes sense. Commissioner?
And I would just recommend a multi-pronged approach. I don't think just hitting it in one avenue is really going to suffice. We have a pretty large city.
We do.
Right.
So,
It
I
is
mean,
large
handing out
city.
flyers I think is wonderful, but we can reach social media. I think our city's reach is over 60,000 people. So I would really try a multi-pronged approach.
Okay, I agree. I agree. Okay, so do we want to put you on a calendar? We don't have anybody handling that department right now, but maybe you can, maybe in January? You think you'll be
Probably
ready to come back, or February?
February, let's plan for February of this time.
Okay, so let's
Yeah.
plan for Public Works to get back to us in February on some resolution or some ideas and what we can do. Do you feel like that's,
Yes, yes.
okay?
Sheriff, I got one more question for you. Do we have a recycling program through the city?
I think that recycling, yeah, go ahead, Commissioner Jones.
May I answer
Yeah,
that?
yeah, please, go ahead.
Commissioner?
Yes, Commissioner Guzman here. Yes, I am aware of a recycling program for electronics and for tires, precisely through the Vertec cleanup days. I am thankful that I picked up a lot of tires from my neighborhood and they took them in. I know they will shred them and use the material for recycling and for other products. So yes, Vertec does, and all electronic items, they take them at that cleanup days, yes.
Well, they won't take tires,
Actually, they will.
because I just called them last week. They will not take tires. They will not pick up tires.
No, not pick up, if you drive them there.
Oh, if you drive them there,
If
at
you
our,
drive
at
them.
our dump day, you're talking at our dump day.
At the dump day, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, you're talking about this. Yeah.
Yes, I am.
But if you have illegal dumping with tires, they won't pick them up.
Exactly.
Okay. So we're safe to move to, or you
No, but the question I had though, Commissioner Guzman, is specifically for our city, right? So when you say the trash cans that Public Works, the ones they're responsible for, so is there a city recycling program through the city, like when we talk about plastic bottles, things like that?
Yes.
Do we, as a city, have a recycling program?
I'll check on that, but I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, the only
Okay.
recycling is the blue containers that is done through Vertec, but the city recycling program, I don't think so.
Okay.
Are you talking about electronics?
No.
He's talking about plastic bottles, you know,
Plastics,
glass.
things, glass.
Other than your blue trash can at home?
Yeah,
the blue.
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, and we'll move forward to staff reports, there's none. New business, there's none. And I think we'll be safe to do announcements. Police, again, you want to start? If we have any, does somebody come
Sure,
to?
Cervantes, we have Explorer, Sasha Deal.
We can do that in announcements for police if you want to.
Okay, I'll do that right now. Sasha Villabazo. She's one of our wonderful explorers. And I want to first start out by saying she's 16 years old. And as a young lady, she's already starting to display some phenomenal levels of leadership. She's known in our group as someone who takes initiative. She attends meetings, she leads meetings, she actually mentors and supports some of the other kids in the program. She's aspiring to be a police officer when she turns 21 and stay on board with the San Bernardino Police Department. And we look forward to that. We try to use this program as a pipeline to get kids interested in law enforcement. But even if they don't get involved in law enforcement, want them to just be better human beings. Learn the life skills, learn the discipline, learn the communication skills necessary to function in any capacity in life. She's doing that now, and we have no doubt she'll continue to do that in the future. We are proud of her. We're proud of the accomplishments that she's made, and we want to be part of all the things that she'll do in the future as a San Bernardino police officer. So I just want to thank her for her dedication. Another thing to note is that they go to explore competitions. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but all of our explorers, they train and they gather skills, and some of these skills are similar to what a cop would do: building search skills, arrest and control techniques, and they go and compete against other youth throughout the state and sometimes throughout the nation. And she's been a part of some of those competitions, and I know that just recently we competed in Riverside, right? And we did very well. We got first place or second place in a couple of different trials, and she's been a part of that, and I'm really proud of them because the work that they do. So in recognition for your outstanding achievements and contributions, congratulations.
Yes, yes.
Anybody want to come up? Come on up. Stay up there. There, Chief.
Congratulations.
Okay, we're going to kind of go a little out of order. We had a public speaker that he was parked on the, you could come up, was parked on East Street waiting, he didn't know how to get in. So we're going to go ahead and let you have 3 minutes, yeah, sir? You have 3 minutes, and if it goes past the 3 minutes, you're welcome to stay, and we'll get somebody to help you resolve after our meeting, which is shortly be done.
I'd just like to say, first of all, thank you for your service in sitting on the commissions. We know it's hard to get citizens to come in and participate, so thank you. I'm hard of hearing, so if there's going to be any questions, I'm going to have a difficult time with that, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
So 3 minutes?
3
You have
minutes.
3 minutes. Once you're done, if it's not resolved, then somebody will talk to you after.
Okay.
So 3 minutes. Thank you.
Okay. Good evening, commissioners, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Anthony Noriega. I am the district director for the League of United Latin American Citizens in the Inland Empire. I am currently involved in a collaborative effort with local branch NAACP and the Federal Department of Justice in the Los Angeles office to address hate crimes in the Inland Empire. We are in the process of inviting various community organizations and experts to join us in this effort. At present, we are in the early stages of planning a series of town halls aimed at proactively uniting against hate crimes. These gatherings will educate the public, present hate crime prevention strategies, and provide guidance on reporting while fostering a deeper understanding of such crimes and their complex roots. Our collaboration is driven by a dedication to community education, prevention, and engagement. The weight of this effort cannot be overstated. It is paramount to our collective commitment. Our objective is to educate, empower, and unite our community against hate crimes. The success of this initiative relies on a unified front involving stakeholders, including the involvement of the San Bernardino Public Safety and Human Rights Commission. Consider this an invitation not only to observe, but to actively support this crucial mission. The San Bernardino Public Safety Rights Commission supports is invaluable. It forms the backbone of our collective efforts. Your advocacy will reiterate the urgency of the mission across the Inland Empire. Tentatively, we aim to present these town halls in early spring, March, April timeframe in 2024, allowing ample time for coordination across the Inland Empire. We aren't merely convening a meeting, we are spearheading a movement towards more inclusive, respectful, and just society. Our collaboration efforts result in standing against hate crimes. We invite the San Bernardino Public Safety and Human Rights Commission to stand with us in this crucial endeavor. Thank you for your attention. We eagerly await your support in our joint efforts to address hate crimes in our community. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Commission, we're going to move forward to, we have any public safety announcements from each of our commissioners, so we'll start at, we'll start with Commissioner Creel. Anything to report in your ward?
We're fine. Everything is good. Just getting more involved in the city and spreading the good news out that we're moving forward.
Okay, and then Commissioner.
Mine is actually on the agenda, so I'll
Oh, good. Okay.
Thank you.
And then Commissioner Walters, anything?
Yeah, I toured, had some time, so I spent about a week at Hospitality Lane, actually at the Hilton. And I've seen they're doing pretty good, and also at the Inland Mall, they had a lot of activity there for Halloween, and there was a lot of really family-oriented gathering there, and felt very safe. But we'd like to see a little bit more police, like the substation, open a little bit more. But I guess around the holidays there will be more officers there. But it was a lot of security, and I felt safe. And I saw a few things, and I let the security know of problems. But overall, it's looking better downtown on Hospitality Lane and the Inland Center area. And also, I want to, I'm a little bit late for the Latin Heritage Month, but I want to recognize our former chief, Ben Gonzalez, that passed away in February, and he served many years with him and his brother, almost over 40 years, and he was the first Latino chief of police in the size of this city in the United States. So he was my friend for many years, and sat on the commission too for many years, and always tried to make the that we had a quorum, that he served many years, and he passed away in February.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Commissioner Williams. Commissioner Goodman?
Yes, I just want to let everybody know that the county health department is coordinating with Bing Wong Elementary School in an effort to educate children about bugs, especially that there's two kinds of bugs: good bugs and there's be careful bugs, especially around infestations and in the mosquito season that passed but is still around here. So that the county health department, especially a gentleman, but I believe Carlos is his name. I think it's Hernandez. He and his department will come over and present, I believe, the first, to be determined, but it is the first week of December. They will go to one school, and hopefully it spreads out to the rest of the elementary schools, making kids aware of the goodness, but then the dangers of bugs.
Thank you.
No announcements, but I do want to recognize you, Mr. Anthony, and I appreciate that statement. And also, in light of just these recent events, I know that our city council has declared racism a public health crisis. And so I'm also wondering, to what extent is it in our power in this commission to also evaluate that and see what our efforts look like? And so I would like to put that on for future agendas for conversation. So thank you so much for that. No announcements.
Thank you, Commissioner.
And I apologize if this announcement's been made because I wasn't at our last commissioners meeting. I just wanted to talk about the entrepreneurial center in the partnership with City of San Bernardino and Cal State San Bernardino that just was launched. So if you haven't checked it out, please check it out. I know it's downtown in the City of San Bernardino, so please check that out when we talk about creating business owners in the City of San Bernardino. I think that's very important, right? When we're talking about, the growth of our city. I think that is a big step, teaching our youth the future, how to own your own business. I think that's very important.
Okay, thank you. And for my ward, Ward 7, I first want to recognize 4 officers in Ward 7 that I always try to bring up officers that have just been outstanding customer service. Is Officer Tubbs, I hope I have their names right, Officer Ortiz, Officer Wynn, and Officer Kane. These are officers that I've had contact with because in my area, I'm on the board for the neighborhood and the commission. They interact in our area, and these officers are outstanding officers.
Yes.
We hear a lot of negativity about officers, but particularly Officer Wynn. He's a model officer. He's somebody that should be training our officers. He's a people person. He's an amazing officer. He's a peacemaker. I really want you to whatever you can put him. He's wonderful. I'm like, where did you come from? But I wanted to show light on those officers. We want to recognize, hey, Veterans Day just passed. We appreciate our veterans, right?
Yes.
My dad is a Vietnam vet, so I know, we appreciate our veterans, right? And our active duty too, all of them. They serve us, we have freedom because of them, right? Another thing is we had the Oktoberfest. It was amazing. We attended it. We had a pop-up booth for the first time.
Yes.
A few of our commissioners showed up, and it was a great turnout. I felt like
Yes, it was.
I felt like it was something that the commission should continue to do every year. encourage the commission to do that, because it was really nice. We were out, didn't you feel like it was a good, yeah, and we got some flyers out there and give some information. What else do we have? We had in the Ward 7, we had our trunk or treat. We had that at the Arrowhead Country Club. Well, we had thousands of kids come out. Great turnout. So basically that, and I was a step ahead of the issue that happened at the council. I was going to put it on this agenda, for this next agenda, but Captain Carrington is out this meeting, so it's going to be for next month. Because we want to give our police department ample time to investigate and to do what they're doing with it, because last I checked, they were still investigating and trying to, so that the commission can look at what they're doing to make sure that doesn't happen again. Definitely.
I can tell you that. While the investigation is still ongoing, the biggest thing that we can do to make sure it never happens again is to consider, and this is a decision for council, consider removal of Zoom as an option.
Yes.
There's been plenty of examples of Zoom bombing throughout the nation, and many of the people who choose to do this aren't even from the community. They're from other places throughout the region, and they're doing this for the sole purpose of being disruptive. So the disruption, regardless of the words they choose, is the goal. And in this case, they chose to use hateful, vile comments that clearly evoke some passion and long history, and very much associated with pain. But I want to be clear that we have to manage our expectations, and the expectations are this: is that hateful speech doesn't equate to a hate crime.
Yes.
And that's a mistake that a lot of people are making. And I'll make very clear that a person in the back of the room yelling, "Shut up! Speak up! Why don't you stand up while you're talking?" That's just as disruptive, and that's just as much of a violation of meeting decorum as someone who uses vile language, because it's not the language, it's the disruption of the meeting. And what we had a disruption of the meeting. We had someone who used vile language to disrupt that meeting, but the language in and of itself isn't the crime. It's the disruption, the intentional disruption of the meeting. So we have to manage our expectations of that, because I can tell you there will be no hate crime associated with this. We have a crime of intentional disruption of the public meeting. So that's that part. Now, in terms of identifying the who, we're still having some issues with that, because we know at this point that the access was done through VPN, which means that it could be anywhere in the world. And so we're still putting effort into it, but at a certain point, I'm going to have to weigh the effort versus the totality of the crime itself. And what we're talking about, again, is a misdemeanor potential disruption of a meeting, and how much more time, manpower do we invest in something like that, when at the end of the day, it's not going to be a hate crime. It's a disruption of the meeting. So haven't got to that decision yet, but I'm getting close, because we're running into some dead ends. So that's what I can tell you.
Thank you for that, Chief. Commissioner.
I sat on the DA's commission, and two mayors said exactly what the police chief said. As a matter of fact, one of the mayors was where you were at before. He said they eliminated the Zoom, because a lot of it is, as much as I believe 100% is wrong, we got to consider the source. I mean, some idiot jumps up and calls you all kinds of names. We got to consider the source. It's still wrong, but we got to consider the source and say, you know what, if we can spend a lot of money for a misdemeanor, and the end result is whoever this idiot that said that is 100% wrong, but we got to consider the source. The source is horrible, and to me, how much time and negative energy do we want to exhaust into something that we all agree is 100% wrong? I mean, I can't emphasize how bad that was. But on the other hand, if somebody calls me all kinds of names, I got to consider the source. And the source is This is not what I would consider a human being. Somebody to say that to anybody, regardless of the race, is not good. And somewhere we got to say, you know what? Let's consider the source. But two of the mayors said, let's eliminate the Zoom, because guess what happened in their town, and guess what? It's going to happen again. And you know, there is no mute button. You know, I don't know if there's a mute button for the two speakers. I've seen speakers get up there and they start using profanity. I think they ought to be muted and their time should be exhausted. I really do. I mean, when people get up there, you know, because it's offensive, whether it's racial, whatever it is, you know, when it's wrong, it's wrong. And I cannot emphasize what Chief is saying, that, you know, we got to look for the avenue. I mean, we could spend hundreds of dollars to find out who it was, and it's a misdemeanor. It's a isn't it? Is that true, Chief? More than likely.
Yeah, it would be a misdemeanor even if we could prove intent, but that's the other issue, is that for it to be a misdemeanor, there has to be willful intent. And how can you prove willful intent if the person didn't know they were unmuted?
Right.
I mean, we have to find them to be able to, you know, interview them to know that. But there's a chance that the person was yelling at their TV, you know,
Right.
thinking that they were in the privacy of their own home and didn't even know that it was being broadcast. I mean, we have to consider all of those things as possibilities. But at the end of the day, the reality is that we can't legislate emotion. We can't
Yes.
legislate feelings. We can't legislate hate. We can only legislate the actions that result from it. And that's the reason that the law is very clear on what a hate crime is. And a hate crime is something that, based on race, a violent act occurs, is threatened, or encouraged. So we had none of those in this situation. There was no violence associated with it. So there's no hate crime as per definition. Hateful, yes.
Very hateful.
Disgusting, yes.
Yes.
Repulsive, yes. But it does not fit the legal definition of a crime, a hate crime.
Well, thank you for the explanation for that. And then we'll follow up with the police department, Commissioner Curran.
You know, it's the same thing when a public speaker goes to council meeting and he picks one of the council people or the chief or our fire chief and badmouths him, and then all the people do this. I mean, to me, that is so disgraceful. I mean, I believe in our meetings we shouldn't have clapping. You know, I mean, unless we're getting an award. If we're getting an award, clap all you want. But if it's negative, there should be no clapping. I mean, when I hear people public speak and they're chewing our chief or they're chewing our council, that is disrespectful. I mean,
Thank you.
and I can't emphasize that enough.
Thank you, Commissioner. And another reminder that December 4th, we're having it's called the Miracle on Court Street. That's a week-long event. It's going to be downtown. It starts December 4th. And then you're familiar with the Ho-Ho Parade? That
Yes.
goes to the whole city. They've been doing it for years. Actually, they're recruiting for more cars. I seen on next door, but we have that too, and that's amazing. If you can attend that in your area or your ward, that's a great event. We're going to have a table up for our neighborhood association where they stop at Wildwood, and I think it's a good opportunity for us to get involved in,
Yes.
and with our neighborhood associations. So I think that's it for our updates.
I have a
And-
few things.
Yeah, sure.
If this is the appropriate time. Just give me an update of some of the activity that we've had over the last month. This is still year to date, but this is from January through October, since we're now in November. We had 9,100 pounds of methamphetamine retrieved, 1,350 pounds of cocaine, 1,653 pounds of fentanyl, and 1,057 firearms, illegal firearms seized. And when I say that on firearms, I always like to add that these aren't guns that we're finding on the sidewalk. These are guns that we're finding in the hands of criminals who have no purpose of having these firearms, because most of them are ex-cons, convicted felons, gang members, people whose possession of the firearm itself means that they have intent to go out and commit a crime because they've already done so. And many times they are using those weapons to even threaten officers and resulting in officer-involved shootings because of their possession of these guns. The other thing that we've done year to date is we've improved our homicide solvability rate. It maintains around 70% when the national average is below 50. Our homicides are still down 55% from where they were this time last year, which is outstanding. Our average response time, and this is the amount of time that it takes us from the time the phone rings to get to the person who needs our service, our response times are down 51%.
Awesome.
Down 51%. And I can tell you, when I first got here, that was one of the biggest complaints that I got from everyone that I met. You know, your officers don't show up. You know, we call and it takes them 2 days to get here, or whatever. And some of that was true, and it was true for a variety of reasons. But I make no excuses. I try to just get the job done and make results. And this is one of the results that we've achieved. We've actually improved our response time to 51%. So with that, I have one thing that I'd like to go back to in the discussion that you guys were having on cleanliness, because this is a subject that's near and dear to my heart, even though I agree with you 100%. It's not the police's job to clean anything. I will say, and this is based on both my education and my practical experience as a law enforcement officer, I was involved in a study when I was in college, and the study was actually a study on cleanliness. I got to work with a group who did a program for the mayor's office. It was Mayor Garcetti at the time, and we were responsible for researching methods for the city to come up with metrics to determine how clean the city was or wasn't. And in that, one of the biggest takeaways for me, because again, I'm a cop, was cleanliness lends itself to the perception of public safety. When people see filth, they perceive it as unsafe. There was a study done where they had a group of people walk down a mock alley. And this mock alley was dimly lit. It had cars, on the fake lawns. It had trash strewn throughout the street. And they brought in the study group, and they asked them how they felt about this alley. And they all said it was unsafe. They wouldn't walk down that alley at night. They wouldn't live in that neighborhood. They take the group out. Now they turn the lights on, get rid of the trash, clean up the cars off the lawns, ask the people how they felt, and they all thought it was a wonderful neighborhood. It's the same place. The only difference was it was clean. So I say that to support Public Works and to tell you that you're not wrong for looking at cleanliness as being important. It's vitally important to what I do. I just gave you a bunch of data showing you the improvements that we made. But why do people still not feel safe in San Bernardino? Because it doesn't look safe. So you're onto something, and I don't want you to let it go. Because the cleaner the city looks, the cleaner people will believe it is. And then my data will actually be more profound, because now people will have that confidence in the city and they will feel safer, and then we will start seeing the results of the safety improvements that we've actually made. Because people will come back here and start doing business, start investing in our community, start buying homes, start raising their kids here, having kids want to stay here and not saying in kindergarten that they want to leave. That's all associated with reputation, and the reputation can only improve if we can clean it up. So I just had to have that.
Is there anything the public?
Thank you for the updates, and kudos to you and your department. Just a quick question in regards to the average response time. What's the actual response time?
So there's 5 different categories. There's E response, that's emergency, priority 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s. So that number is overall. So I'd have to give you the data for each one, but for example, emergency response is when there's light sirens because either someone's life is being threatened or there's a crime in progress. So for those, I can tell you that we used to be at around 7 minutes. Now we're in the area of like 4 to 5, and then in the others, I don't want to give you bad numbers and guess, but they've all improved. All of them are lower now to the tune where overall we're 51% lower than we used to be.
I really appreciate that research study, and I'm wondering, when you all are collecting this information, is it disaggregated by ward by any chance?
Which one?
Well, all of them. So when you're talking about the seizing of the fentanyl, the cocaine, the firearms, or is it, do you have that disaggregated by wards? And I'm only asking because in connection to the research study, I'm wondering, would you see if someone studied the trend of in a neighborhood or a ward that's considered, I'm not going to use the word dirty, right? But right, and so would there be higher rates of seizing, crime, X, Y, and Z versus a ward that is considered cleanly, and then again a lower rate of that? And so is that disaggregated by ward?
The data, yes, I can give you data by ward.
I would love that.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
I can give you data by ward.
Okay, Commissioner.
And piggybacking on what Chief said, I mean, if I was to buy, if I wanted to buy a house in San Bernardino and I drove through it, I would probably say no. But today versus 2 years ago, it's getting better. I mean, the parks, I mean, you could actually drive through a park and it's nice. There's some areas that are still tough, but people think crime is important. But, you know, if somebody wants to buy a house in San Bernardino, they drive through it. Crime is the last thing because they're going to look at our city and they're going to say, I don't want to live here. I don't care if it's crime zero. But once we clean it up, then the second thing you're going to ask, what's the crime? Right? And right now, Chief is tackling both. And what I love about Chief is when he came aboard, he didn't say, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. He said, just let me in. And the whole key to a successful leader is results. And we've seen nothing but results. Thank you, Chief, in the last year and a half.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I want to agree with that. I had 4 calls this last week through dispatch, and each call I timed response was under 14 minutes. I had one that was 9-minute response. I had one that was 21-minute response. But back a year ago, it was like you said, 2 days. Total difference I'm seeing with police and your staff. Even dispatch has gotten better. We're still got to fine tune that, but you know, I'm seeing an improvement, and I'm on it. I'm just in there and I'm just watching, and so I have to say that I'm seeing an improvement. And I am seeing improvement in the city. I drive through it all
Yes.
the time. What used to be broken, and I'm seeing it. We're going to get there. It's just going to
Amen.
take people like you us to get it going. But I have seen it. I appreciate you coming into our city. I
Amen.
really do. It's going to change.
It's good.
I'm hopeful. Okay,
One
so
last statement. I want to appreciate Lieutenant Ernie Luna. I visited the Airway Country Club, and they had a real big issue with a homeless that was living there, breaking into the truck and sleeping on it. So I turned it over to him. He showed up, and guess what? There's a husband and wife, and the wife was adamant about what was going on. The husband said, it's okay, you can stay here. And we addressed that. And what Lieutenant Luna really stretched it, he said, not only did you allow this homeless here, you paid him cash, and he said, you're letting this homeless run through the neighborhoods, and you know, if something's out in the yard, he wants it, he doesn't take it. And they finally, the husband and wife, the husband fessed up. He said, yeah, I told him he could stay here. As a matter of fact, I even paid him. And the wife said, I want him gone. I want him. And guess what? They would have 602.
yeah, Lieutenant Luna has been amazing.
Yeah. So those are things that Lieutenant Luna has been really, really good for the Eastern District. I mean, we give him something, and he's on it. And, you know, he is relentless till he finds a resolution. So
I agree. Thank you, Commissioner. And then we're going to move on to items to consider for future agenda. Commissioner Sims is not here. We moved it last time. I don't know if we have a motion to move it until he's here next month.
We'll move it to next month. I'll motion to move it to next month.
Okay, thank you. And then we have a second? Okay, and everybody in agreement? Any opposed? Okay. And the next one's going to be Commissioner Canos wants something for future agenda. So can you give us a little input on what you're looking for?
Absolutely. So it's been an ongoing concern in the Fifth Ward regarding the ingress and egress for our community, and especially as development continues to grow, that concern continues to grow. In 2004, we experienced the wildfires, and many of our neighbors unfortunately lost their homes completely gone. So we would like to have a more formalized approach. This was also spoken with our fire, in July. So hopefully we can agendize this with your guys' consent and have more of a robust discussion to actually take a collaborative approach with the community, with our fire, and necessary parties to kind of formalize this, have a formalized safety plan.
Okay. Do we, I think we can, okay, Commissioner Creel?
I agree.
Okay, so does the city something want to agendize for next December?
I do got a question for Commissioner Canaz. Are we talking about an overall EAP, like emergency action plan for that ward specifically? Yeah.
Specifically for the areas concerning Kendall Hills University and Vermont.
Right on the edge of the mountains, yes.
Yeah, no, that's perfect.
I'm familiar with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And then I guess also, Azam, that's a question for you. Do we contract that out when we talk about knocking down, cleaning those areas from like growth of, weeds and
Vegetation.
shrub vegetation, those different things? Because I think about Little Mountain, all those different things in that area. Is that something the city does, or do we contract that out, or request RFPs through different, when we talk about tree trimming companies, things like that?
Yeah, if it's within public right away, yes. We have.
Sorry, I think it depends on what the clearing is, because our county fire does come in like Little Mountain.
Okay.
They come in and they do drills and exercises there to clear out. They also do that in the Vermont community up closer border and DeVore. So it depends on what the purpose of the clearing is.
Okay.
Chair Cervantes, we'll need a motion. Did somebody motion?
No, not yet,
Second,
we're still,
okay.
so we do need a motion to put that, do we have a motion to put that on our next agenda?
Motion by Roberson.
Okay, second,
Second.
second by Creel, all in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so do we have anything from Public Works at all? I didn't come to you. Nothing? Okay, all right, if we're okay to adjourn. Motion to adjourn. All right, motion to adjourn, 7:06. Thank you, and I did bring some food.